Yes, for Tim Davie, I think this, in many ways, has been a long time coming. He's had an incredibly difficult year where he has managed to sort of dodge his way out of quite a few sort of issues that have come to light. I mean, the issue with Glastonbury and the Israeli death chants that were aired on the BBC iPlayer, which he managed to avoid having to resign over that. Then also there was the Gaza documentary where it emerged that one of the narrators of a documentary that was put onto the BBC iPlayer was the child of a member of Hamas. I think on top of those two issues, his role as chairman really was becoming completely untenable. And then on top of that, just in the last week, he's had an incredible amount of pressure over the Panorama documentary and how President Trump was edited in that documentary itself. It was an impossible sort of situation for him to not have resigned over this, really. The way that President Trump was edited throughout the week, people have been saying that it was inexcusable, really, how Panorama portrayed President Trump and the rally that he had talking about January the 6th before supporters stormed the Capitol. Look, throughout the year, throughout the tabloid press, Tim Davie has been known as Teflon Tim, if you like, for the amount of numerous times he's managed to shake off these problems. But I think really, to be honest, it had become a situation where had we one more situation, which was what we got in the last week, I think he had little choice but to resign. And that's what we've seen tonight. There was rumours throughout the week that this could be coming. Confirmation certainly within the last few minutes that's his decision. And I think really I can't see how he could have gone any other way with this.
It's interesting, Katie, isn't it, that both Tim Davie and Deborah Turness have decided to go rather than just perhaps being the head of news. The head of the whole corporation has felt that he needs to fall on the sword as well. And also interesting that Deborah Turness, in her statement, has made one thing very clear. She says, while mistakes have been made, acknowledging that, she goes on to say, I want to be absolutely clear, recent allegations that BBC News is institutionally biased are wrong. And of course, this is something that the BBC really has been grappling with.
But in many ways, that is why we've had to see both of their resignations tonight, because fundamentally at the heart of the BBC, what the BBC is supposed to stand for is this unbiased stance and this trusted institution that people can turn for and rely on. Certainly in terms of its news coverage as well. And on top of the Gaza documentary and it's emerging, this question over the child narrator of that documentary, on top of that, the way that it emerged that President Trump was edited, the pressure that the BBC has come on from the White House, it's come under from the White House itself as well over that. I think really if the BBC is supposed to stand for trust and supposed to hold accountability at its very core, they both did have to resign over this because it's inexcusable, and no other broadcaster would be able to sort of stand up and in any sort of good faith and say that they are proud of either of those two issues. Certainly the way in which President Trump was edited in that Panorama documentary is utterly inexcusable. And I think because they stand for trust and because they know that the public has to have belief in what they stand for, I think they had no choice but to see head rolls over this.